Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video we're going to look at this. Yes, it is The Mummy from 1959. Yes, this follows the Hammer sequence of films, which first started with The Curse of Frankenstein in 1957. Then, of course, we had Dracula in 1958. And then, naturally, following on with the Universal catalogue, we had this, The Mummy, from 1959. So, of course, it's directed by Terence Fisher. Who else? We have to have the brilliant Terence Fisher. And it was written, once again, by Jimmy Sangster. Now, it's interesting that Jimmy Sangster really takes this story from 3 of the Universal films. It takes you from the first one, and then we've got The Mummy's Hand, and then The Mummy's Tomb. All these Universal pictures. He takes bits out there and combines them. So it's a brilliant script. I think it works really well. But I think the overwhelming consensus of opinion about this film is how wonderful it looks. It's one of the best looking Hammer films. It really is. It's just so beautiful to look at. Yeah, it is. Well, it's only 88 minutes long, usual standard time for Hammer. And if you look at Rotten Tomatoes on the latest one, it's got 91%. Now, I think at the time it was still seen very favourably, but maybe not quite as much as the other two, the Frankenstein and the Dracula. But it's generally accepted now that it's it's a really enjoyable, good film, and the fact that it just stands out. It's a masterpiece of cinema. I mean, that's all. That is what I know. That sounds a bit of an exaggerated form, but the performances are great. The actual sets are fantastic. You know, who needs big budgets? Well, this Hammer team, which was working so well, as I always talk about every week, it just produced these fantastic Egyptian sets and also the usual English country house sets. It was, as usual, Bray Studios. Hammer were really getting there, really getting just everything together so well. I think in many ways you can also say it's kind of a romantic film as well. It's reminiscent in many ways of the 1961 Curse of the Werewolf. They really extracted that element out of it, and this is what makes these Mummy films so special, as well as being such a colourful delight, in contrast to the 1930s, 40s Mummy films. And of course, I know we've had Mummy films later on, the Brendan Fraser ones, but they're more Indiana Jones, less gothic, less horror content, really. I prefer these. The real true horror. And of course, there's 4 films produced by Hammer of this series of Mummy films, which is great. Absolutely love it. Okay, so I say it's distributed by Universal. because they were very keen on this, and also rank in this country. Now it stars Peter Cushing playing John Banning and Christopher Lee. Yes, the combination's still there. Now he plays Caris and he plays the Mummy. Wow, what a performance! I'll just go into his performance a bit more later. But wow, that's all I can say. Then the leading actress is Yvonne Fanu. I think that's how you pronounce it, Fanu. She plays Isabel Banning and also Princess Ananika. Oh yeah, fantastic. She's beautiful and she fits the role perfectly and adds a lot to the story. In fact, it's very much in ways she's a key part of the story. Then we've got playing the baddie, the villain. There's always a villain as well as the actual monster Mummy. We've got George Pastel again playing Mehmet Bey, like the Egyptian character, and he's great in the role. He was actually, I'll just check it, he was in From Russia with Love, so there's a Bond connection. We got a Bond connection. But he plays another similar Egyptian character in The Curse of the Mummies 2 from 1964. So he's got more connection playing these Egyptian characters, these baddies. Is always good stuff. And then you've been waiting for it, and here it is, the Michael Ripper moment. Yes, he's in this. He plays a poacher. Of course, he has to have a drink. We see him having his drink, and he's in it a bit. You just gotta love seeing him. It always warms my heart to see Michael Ripper. Oh yes, well there's the inn there, of course. The inn. There's always an inn, isn't there? And it's here again. Oh yeah, so wonderful. The formula of Hammer films. You can't help but love it. The whole cast is great, as usual. Everybody just plays their roles brilliantly. You can't help but love these films. It starts in 1895, and this is where we get the brilliant opening archaeological scenes in Egypt, and we get into the story a bit about the curse and what happens and what have you. So we get all that, and it works. Great introduction to the film. Then we move forward 3 years to 1898. And in 1898 is where all the action begins, of course, where the Mummy, of course, comes over to this country with the villain, the Egyptian bloke who's going mad about people, what they're doing. So you've got an element of the colonial element in there, what are these people doing, robbing our treasures and, and the ignoring the curses and all that sort of thing. So you get the monster element there, the Mummy. And that's how the story develops, really. And Peter Cushing is his usual wonderful self. Never gives a bad performance, does he, Peter Cushing? He's great. But I have to say, Christopher Lee is just fantastic. We do see there's a 15-minute flashback sequence, which again, is going back to ancient Egypt. What a job they're doing. I mean, wow. The designers and the costumes and everything. And in this, we get the story of what happened in that relationship between Caris and the princess. And Christopher Lee's actually playing this character and talking. But then when he's the Mummy, he doesn't talk. And he's acting is in many ways his eyes. So you see his expressions and his emotions with his, the romantic side almost of the story, his relationship with the princess. And of course, Isabel happens to look like the princess, and that's another key factor in the story. She's like almost like a reincarnation, and that works. That works really well. I can't really fault that at all. And also, what I love is that this mummy is not a lumbering kind of mummy. He's like a robot. It's just so dynamic the way he smashes through the window. I love it. It was reminiscent of the Doctor Who. Yes, we got a Doctor Who thoughts that went through my head of the Pyramids of Mars review coming up soon. Or you may have already had it when I've recorded this video. Anyhow, let's get back to this. But yeah, he's great. Christopher Lee as the mummy, wonderful. I just think he's fantastic. This just adds so much. The whole film is a delight. It really is. You can just sit back and enjoy it. A visual treat. Everybody knows what they're doing, and they produce this wonderful film. And as I say, you can have all the money in the world, but I bet you can't produce such a good film with even their special effects and everything that they do. And I think there's not as much gore in this film at all. There was a sequence about the tongue which had to be trimmed for the censors, and the suggested violence is more off screen, particularly in the flashback sequence. So there isn't a real censorship problem at all in this, but I don't think it matters at all. I still just think it's a great visual treat to look at this, and so enjoyable, and the story and everything. So that's great. Let me just talk about this that I'm holding in front of me. This edition. This is from Second Sight, a 2022 last year release, and well, I'll just show you. Wonderful. Look at that box. Look at the cover. Yeah, great. A beautiful illustration. There's nothing on the back. There's just that there. Then, let me have a look here. I'll just show you this. There. So there we've got that. And then we've got all about the special features and the usual things that you have. And then there is no sort of other cover. It's just this one on that. Then we've got the disc, which is a plain disc. And yes, I know. That's me with the J-Card. I do not like these J-Cards. They're a waste of space. I prefer the solid ones. Why can't they do the solid ones? Instead, we get these funny ones that are just... I don't like them. I'm not messing about with them. No, not messing about with those. But that's just me. Then, what have we got here? We have got this wonderful booklet. Look at this. This is all about the film. Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely. It's a treat. You've got the illustrations, and you've got a lot of essays about the film, and wow, what a great job they're doing. And then on top of that, we've got some lobby cards. Look, these cards of the film. Look at that. That's the illustration that we've got there. We've got some more scenes from the film. Look at that. Brilliant. Look at these. Wow. Look at that action scene. And then that, look at that, the original There it is. Look at that. The mummy there. Fantastic. Wow. I just absolutely love it. Oh, yeah. Right. So, let me put those back. And there, one more look. And that's it. I finished. Well, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to know when I produce more, please subscribe. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when I produce these videos. And also, if you really enjoyed this, please give it a like. It helps, with algorithms, they say, and so more people will see it. And yeah, it sounds all good, and it costs no. So anything that costs no is good. Same with subscribing, costs no. So there you are. All I've got to say, as usual, is I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.